Okay, hi everybody. I'm going to just go through the directions and a little lesson on what is a political cartoon. So, if you were here in class, we talked a little bit about this. So, a political cartoon is a type of editorial cartoon. We talked about the word editorial, which really means opinion based. And a cartoon is a graphic, all right, with people of public figures, and usually it's very opinionated. So here are some really famous political cartoons that kind of help you understand what it is. You'll notice this picture is really an old one, and you probably learned it in fifth grade when you studied the 13 colonies and the American Revolution. Every section of this snake represents one of the 13 colonies, and you can see they're cut up, which most certainly means that that snake is dead. And really what the point of this is, if the states don't come together or unite, well, then they'll most certainly die. So that is kind of like, again, very skewed perspective on what people believe politically of that time. This one here, I was showing you earlier, is very skewed for a teacher's perspective. So in 1960, a kid comes home with an F, and those parents are yelling at the student. And today, many teachers would say they feel that your kid comes home with an F and everyone's yelling at the teacher, right? So where is the blame? So let's just understand political cartoons are really great for understanding these really techniques in literature. And it's a really great tool to use to get to sharpen your skills when you're talking about author's point of view. Author's point of view sometimes is hidden when you're reading something that's fictional. But in a political cartoon, it is very evident what the point of view of the authors and really the intent of the content created. The purpose of that content will be very clear, and the historical context in which that political cartoon was written in will also be very clear. It's also pretty evident who the intended audience is. Who is the cartoonist writing that for? Is it a conservative? Is it a liberal? And we talk a lot about political parties because it is a political cartoon, right? That word is there. And the other great skill you're going to develop when you're studying a political cartoon is this ability to interpret. You have to infer the meaning of the political cartoon. It's not going to be spelled out and written there for you. You have to use the clues given in the cartoon to figure out what the cartoon is saying. So a lot of people who struggle with inferencing or even understanding author's point of view that might also not have a lot of background knowledge on historical context will struggle with understanding what a political cartoon is. I will tell you, as a kid, I never really understood it because I wasn't paying attention to current events. But as an adult, I'm getting it, right? So let's see if we can stretch our knowledge in terms of historical content and political kind of current events to understand political cartooning. Some other really great aspects about studying a political cartoon are these skills and strategies. Exaggeration's always used. Irony can be used. Labeling, that's what I'm talking about, dropping those clues. Labeling your cartoon so that we can infer your point of view, your skew, what is your stereotype, what are you trying to say by labeling and giving us clues. Lots of analogy can be used in political cartooning as well as symbolism. That's great, where you use another object to represent something else, using another character to characterize someone else, right? That's what a political cartoon will do. Humor, it's always supposed to be kind of funny. Dark humor a lot in a political cartoon, as well as popular culture is used in a political cartoon. So now I have some examples here for you to understand. This is really, and you can see the abbreviations here. This is supposed to be Herbert Hoover, which I keep tongue twisting, but he was the president of the time during the stock market crash and part of the Great Depression, and really was blamed for the stock market crash. And he was kind of villainized. And here you can see this is a very anti-Hoover ad, or cartoon, I should say. And here he's trying to quiet down kind of the stress of the time. He's not doing a very good job. So you can see awful job to quiet anything around. He can't seem to quiet anything. So it really is saying that he's not doing such a great job, okay? And you can see that the author's point of view is he is anti-Hoover. This one is really great for understanding kind of the housing bubble of the Great Depression. You can see the caricature here of the monopoly character, and really what he's representing is corporations, businesses of that time. Here's this poor guy's home, and he lost it, right? Probably in a foreclosure. And who's there to pick up the pieces? It's that capitalism, that monopoly. And he's really winning. So who's losing? It's the regular person here. I guess I've got everything. And really, it's these monopoly businesses that are winning everything. And you can see on this bucket, he's got nothing on here. Compliments of Wall Street. So that's really an inference to the stock market crash. This one is of Fdr Roosevelt, who was the president after Hoover. And I think he's also a very controversial political character in our history. Here you can see in this cartoon, it is very pro Roosevelt. Okay. He's the doctor. Congress is asking him, please, Roosevelt, come help Uncle Sam, right? Here he's going to come and give him some medicine, some remedies. Remedies is called the New Deal. A lot of Americans right now don't love the New Deal. They feel that he really created a very focused, centralized federal government with these plans. Some people feel that he really saved America with these plans, right? Rescued us from the banking crisis and the stock market crash. And this kind of is very pro Roosevelt. So you can see kind of this political cartoon. And this one's really very simple of that time. You see the little squirrel here. But why didn't you save some money for the future when times were good? And this poor chap here, I did. And you can see the labeling on this political cartoon. He was a victim of the bank failure, right? When all of the money was gone and banks went bankrupt and nothing there. There was no federal help. And the federal government really ignored the problem of that banking system failure. And we know that Roosevelt created the FDIC, which was supposed to really help us from that, right? It would never happen again. I'm going to skip this one. Let's go to this one. This is a current, I don't know where I'm going to move my face here. I think that's good enough. This is a current political cartoon, kind of making fun of really the political polarization of our country right now. Doesn't really matter what side of the political party you're on. COVID-19 is impacting all of us. It doesn't matter if you're pro Biden or you're pro Trump. You can see everyone here is hooked up to a line. And this really is a very good description of what's happening in the United States. So political cartooning is kind of making fun of our current political situation. All right. The pandemic would be considered political, to be honest with you, especially in 2022. I love this one. This one is great. This one is definitely 2022. And you can see that these characters here, the gas prices, supply chain, inflation, COVID, and they're telling Halloween, get in line, amateur, because we're a lot scarier than you. And you can see that these really are current problems right now going on in 2022. And look at Halloween. Looks like a dope, right? So your job is going to be to create a political cartoon of your own. And you can use it around any, I'm going to move my face here so I can find a student sample. You can use any topic really that revolves around this error. So I said it doesn't have to be the one that you researched for your presentation, but you can do one on the Great Depression, stock market crash, the Roaring 20s. I think that would be a really fun one to do, right? The difference between kind of the Roaring 20s and the Great Depression of the 30s. You can do the New Deal, which you're going to have to research because you haven't studied it. It's not really a part of this, but it's definitely related. Some people, I think, are interested in maybe doing World War I, World War II, which is right kind of bookends the Great Depression. And that's definitely connected. So you could definitely do that. Other people I know, you might be interested in doing the Prohibition, which was that ban on alcohol. You could do Al Capone or anything revolved around gangsters. That was huge during this time. So if you wanted to tackle some of those other topics that are related to the novel Al Capone, I'm totally open for any suggestions. This one is a student-made political cartoon, and it really is about the communism. So here they're saying keep communism out. And again, it's dark humor. It's being funny about a serious situation, curtains and more, new iron curtains, keep the sun, and communism out. I think that's hilarious. And the hottest trend in interior design. So you have a packet, there's a PDF linked in your Schoology. You're going to go ahead and fill in the third page really first, which is all of the historical context about your political cartoon. And then you're going to draw your political cartoon. You can do it digitally and print it. Make sure that it's colored and it's neat and it's interesting, right? I understand we're not all artists. There's a stick figure here, but this is still pretty darn good. I can't wait to see. I will update due dates in your Schoology, but for right now, it looks like next week, February 4th, okay? My birthday. All right, so I'll see you soon. I can't wait to see what you create. Bye, everybody.